Hi guys, it's Rob here, and I'm back with another 3D modeling tutorial for IT386 at NJIT. And so, where we left off last time, we're going to now start talking about Lambert and Blend. So there's different types of materials in Maya. And so a Lambert is basically a color, and it has color and bump information. A Blend has color, bump, and specular shading. So color is basically, obviously, is just what color it is, so that's your base color. Now bump is sort of the raised or texture of the object, sort of. So if you look at a rock, certain parts of that rock will be more raised than others, right? So some will be sort of inside into the rock, so sort of like hills and valleys, right? Even if you look at your keyboard, your keys aren't all just flat. It's not, unless you have a keypad like that. If you have just a traditional keyboard, your keys have a little bit of raisedness to them. You know, it's crafted in such a way that a certain part of the key is higher up than some of the outside edges of the key. And basically, it's the same thing here. Is that this is the information for, you know, how raised are portions of the object, and specular shading is the lighting information. How would light fall in this object? So when you combine color, bump, and specularity, all of a sudden you get an object that's sort of photorealistic. And that's the best approach to take. You don't want to just be one of those people or 3D modelers or texturers that just uses color or bump. You really want to use all three and take that time to definitely bring out the detail in your models, and it definitely will pay off in the final renders, and the viewers will definitely appreciate it as well, whoever's viewing your project or your portfolio. So Uvw mapping. What is a UV? A UV is the surface of our polygon, or the texture space. Now UV is one direction, W is another direction. So why do we need to unwrap UVs? To control the distribution or spread of our texture. It's sort of like U is X, V is Y, and W is Z. You know, now moving on to a different topic. When you delete edges, it leaves vertices behind. So you want to use delete edge vertex. Now, Control G is used to group objects. Substances are procedural textures. Specular maps are how shiny parts are. Now, bump normal maps. It makes one polygon have many normals, so it gives the illusion that certain parts of the object are raised. Now, a diffuse map is a base color map. Now, for the best 3D results, you want to have a clean underlying geometry and apply diffuse, specular, and normal maps to a 3D object. Lambert is a simple material. It only has a color channel. A default set of UVs comes with every polygon primitive that you create. Now, cgtextures.com is royalty-free, and also the price is free for the textures, but there is a certain limit to the number of textures you can download if you're using the free version. You know, per day. So you'd have to wait another 24 hours to download more textures, or another hour or something. I forget the exact spread, but you can only download within a certain amount of time, a certain amount of memory of those textures, depending on the size of them. And you want to go to Create UVs, UV Map Editor, to edit the UVs. Now, overlapping UVs don't matter in Maya. In the game engine, if you want to bake lighting down, you can't overlap textures. Specular roll-off, how strong in one area is that highlight? Eccentricity, how large will that highlight be? And drop-off is similar to eccentricity. Now, metal would have a high roll-off, low eccentricity. So for metal, you would have a very strong light in one area, but that area that's affected by that light would be small. Now, in a dull material, you would have low roll-off, so there's not much intensity in the light, but there's a high eccentricity, so that is spread throughout the object, right? And you can see how that would sort of make an object look dull. Now, making game props, it's all about really layering. Whether it's with textures or with 2D, it's really all about layering. And render settings for a portfolio, you want to aim for HD 720. Now, if you select an object and press the F key, you'll be able to frame that object. And now we're going to go through some modeling techniques. So when modeling, you always want to look at the biggest parts first. The multi-cut tool is useful for adding edges between 2 points or cutting the geometry. And box modeling is modeling starting out with a primitive object, usually a cube. And I'm actually going to cut it short here because I notice we're running out of time. But please, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next tutorial.